Carroll. Hello there.
Hello, Catherine.
We're going to start in the United States with the latest budget battle.
Yeah, the fourth time since 2011 we've seen Republicans and Democrats clash over this issue of raising how much the US government can borrow. Now, the latest twist in this is that the Republicans are trying to use the leverage over the debt ceiling to stop Obamacare, the President's Affordable Health Care Act, from coming into law on the 1st of October. President Obama has asked the Republicans to try and pass a simple bill to raise the government debt limit, but they're using it as political capital. Now, the Treasury Secretary in the United States, Jack Lew, has warned that America could essentially run out of money by October 17th and lead to a default on some of the US loans, which could be catastrophic for the American economy. But this is an issue that's continuing to be discussed, and both sides are remaining firm in their views.
Now, the president says, I'm not going to negotiate. Well, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work that way. We're not going to ignore Washington's spending problem, and we're not going to accept this new normal of a weak economy, no new jobs, and shrinking wages.
Staying in the United States now, 9 Japanese car part manufacturers have been fined over price fixing in the US. The investigation by the US Justice Department uncovered a series of conspiracies to fix the price of more than 30 different products sold to US car makers. The companies, which include Mitsubishi and Hitachi, will have to pay out fines of more than $740 million. The practice is thought to have affected the cost of at least 25 million cars in the United States. 2 former executives have pleaded guilty to charges of colluding on price. It's part of the biggest criminal investigation ever carried out by the US Justice Department.
Absolutely huge sum of money in fines there, isn't it? Let's look through how the markets are trading this Friday.
Yeah, good news out of Japan this morning hasn't really helped the Nikkei. The consumer prices rose by 0.9% in August in Japan. Further indications the country's economy is recovering and these fiscal policies being adopted by the government are working. Not helping the Nikkei, as I said, down 0.39% in trading. Fairly mixed day across the rest of the Asian markets, just the Hang Seng and the Kospi in the green.
OK, next, a very well-known brand is celebrating its 15th birthday. We ought to say other search engines are available, but we are talking about Google.
Yeah, I mean, it's now a word in the dictionary, Googling, but it's hard to imagine life without Google almost. It's 15 years since the search engine was launched. It's celebrating with an image of a piñata on its homepage, you can see there.
You can actually try and give the piñata a whack,
Yeah,
you?
exactly. Good.
Okay.
So again, 15, celebrating the 5 years, very important, the significance of the piñata. Google is also updating the algorithm it uses in its search engine, which can have a huge effect on web traffic. The update's called Hummingbird. It's going to change how their search engine generates results. The company says it'll affect around 90% of search results, this new engine, and of course that has a massive impact on web traffic. As a result, 2 out of every 3 web searches in the United States is carried out on Google. It's even more in other parts of the world.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the world's most known brands, isn't it now? Well, we're going to look at a story here in France now. If, like me, you like to do a little bit of DIY on a Sunday, then you might like to go down the shop first and buy your supplies. But here in France, it's going to get a bit more difficult to do that.
It certainly is. This after a court ruling that 2 major hardware stores have to shut their doors on Sunday trading. Sunday trading in France is very restricted. It's only possible under certain conditions and in certain areas. These 2 companies were told they could no longer open on Sundays after a case taken by unions. That's despite workers saying that they actually want to come to work. It's the second ruling this week which has affected opening hours of shops. Luke Shrego has the story.
To work or not to work on a Sunday. A French court's decision to force DIY retailers Castorama and Leroy Merlin to cease Sunday trading has reignited the debate. A total of 15 stores have to close their doors across the Paris region. But many Leroy Merlin employees are unhappy with the decision.
Honestly, I'm disgusted by this decision because we don't understand how we got here. We want to work. We volunteer to work. We've never been forced to work.
The Sunday turnover was about equal to twice what we can do on a weekday, so obviously the losses to come are going to be huge.
Across Europe, only the UK, the Czech Republic, Sweden and Romania allow shops to open freely on Sundays. Greece, Austria, Germany and Spain are almost totally restricted, whereas a host of other European nations allow shops to open under certain conditions, including France. The debate there has simmered for years. Earlier this week, A branch of cosmetics and perfume retailer Sephora was also forced to cease after-hours trading. Leroy Merlin and Castorama have already hinted that they would appeal the decision. In the meantime, stores risk a fine of €120,000 should they defy the ruling.
Right, so no makeup shopping after hours and no DIY on Sundays, remember. Finally, a research firm in the United States has broken down exactly how much it costs to make the new iPhone from Apple.
Yeah, there had been this anticipation that Apple might launch a low-cost iPhone this time around. It didn't happen. The 5C, the cheaper of the two models they unveiled earlier this month, is still retails at €599 here in France.
That's quite a lot of money, I would say.
Not exactly low cost. The higher spec 5S is even more expensive, $649 in the United States. The research firm IHS has broken down exactly how much money goes into making the iPhone. They estimate the components cost around $190 and about $8 more goes into putting them together into a phone. Now, the firm says that if Apple did want to launch a lower cost iPhone, around $400 of price range, they need to bring that production cost down even further to around $130. Still quite a long way off.
Oh, I think that sounds like quite a lot of money to me. Thanks very much, Stephen Carroll there with a roundup of the latest business news. And we're going to take a look now at what's buzzing online in web news.
California's eraser law met with strong criticism. And Breaking Bad fans can buy props from the show online. The people of Kenya now want answers over the Westgate Mall terror attack in Nairobi, claimed by Somali militant group Al-Shabaab. Information released by the authorities over the past few days has often been contradictory. So web users across Kenya are formulating their queries via social networks, demanding answers from the government and seeking to clarify fundamental aspects of the ordeal. Citizens submitted their questions to this online document, which has been doing the rounds online. The questions were debated and 85 were selected, seeking answers on the death toll, the fate of the hostages, the attacker's identity, were some of them foreign nationals, and also how did the security forces' major assault actually play out. And while some are wondering if any of the terrorists escaped or perhaps had inside help, others want to know if the tragedy could have been avoided. A number of web users are pointing the finger at intelligence agencies that were unable to prevent or foresee this attack, which appears to have been well orchestrated and carefully planned. The questions have yet to be answered. The Interior Minister and the police have taken to Twitter, asking the people of Kenya to be patient, remain calm, and wait for the outcome of the inquiry, something which could take weeks, even months. The SB 568 law will allow under 18s in California to delete any embarrassing photos or comments from their social network accounts. Dubbed the Eraser Law, the bill was signed by the governor of the US state, Jerry Brown, at the beginning of the week and will go into effect on the 1st of January 2015 to give websites enough time to make provision for the new legislation. The move has sparked lively debate among American web users. Some, like James Steyer, founder of NGO Common Sense Media, think it's a great idea. He says here the law is definitely needed, as teenagers often post content that could come back to haunt them and don't understand the potential consequences of some of their comments or pictures. A great many others, however, think the law poses a number of problems. Journalist Ashley Feinberg from the site Gizmodo says it will be difficult to enforce the legislation because it will only apply to sites with servers based in California. All those hosted abroad or even in another US state will be exempt from this legislation. Camille Dodero expresses a similar viewpoint in her column on Gawker.com. She says the law won't work because it doesn't apply to information that's copied or shared by a third party or posted on somebody else's social network page. The author of this article for the online edition of Forbes magazine says the law hasn't been thought through and there are too many obstacles. He says the new online eraser law should quite simply be erased. The final episode of Breaking Bad will air on Sunday in the US, and to mark the end of its run, producers will be auctioning off props from the show, which tells the story of a chemistry teacher turned drug lord. So fans who have been kept on the edge of their seats over the past 5 years can visit the site ScreenBid and try and get their hands on a souvenir of the show. Items up for bids include costumes, furniture, and also cars. This family photo session could have gone horribly wrong, but luckily the American family was in for nothing more than a fright when the mum accidentally launched their 6-month-old baby into the air as they took photos on the beach during their vacation. The moment was caught on camera by the photographer, and the baby's father, Steve Kramer, who found the pic hilarious, posted it to community site Reddit last week. It's since tallied more than 2 million views, and of course the failed family photo has inspired countless parodies. If you're a man lacking in the hair department, then this stop-motion video by Peter Simon may be of interest. He's invented a magic pen to draw facial hair and a head of hair on his friend Tom. It's extremely well put together, very realistic, and available to view on all good video sharing platforms.
Call me a shipwrecked failure that can't afford but one luxury. Trim the sails and play a pound of beach melody. Cuddle with cuttlefish.
Coming up after the break, the latest international news updates as well as the top sports stories of the day. And we're checking in with our Southeast Asia correspondent to find out more about the floods that are submerging whole provinces and dominating the headlines in Thailand.